and I'm coming back at you with the new year of Horizons with Meet the World Image Solutions. And this year, we're moving to Monday night with brand new exciting guests and engaging literary conversation. And we want our listening audience to be there with us because this is going to be a year you will not forget. Catch us every Monday night, 7 p.m., right here on the New Orleans Talk Network. And you can also reach us on the Meet the World Image Solutions Facebook page, the Meet the World Image Solutions YouTube page, and we're on Podbean, iTunes, and Google Play. So catch us every Monday night, 7 p.m. Central Standard Time. See you there. The year 2019 is going to be an exciting time in the city of New Orleans, and we want you to be a part of it. If you have a book, an event, or a business that you would like to promote right here on Horizons with Meet the World Image Solutions, contact us at www.mtwimagesolutions.com or info@mtwimagesolutions.com. See you there. Girl, Dr. Rhonda M Lawson, and I am back with a new episode of Horizons with Meet the World Image Solutions. And I am joined in the studio once again with another candidate who is running for Louisiana State Representative. And I'm very honored to have this gentleman in here with us. He's going to tell us all about himself, why he's chosen to run, what he plans to do if elected, and I think he has a pretty good chance. Yeah.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Dr. Rhonda. I appreciate you having me here today. I know, a lot of people have a lot of questions regarding why would someone, become into politics pretty much late in life. Why do you all of a sudden you want to get involved? And someone like myself, I've always been involved in community advocacy. I've been involved in the community of service, my entire life. I am retired from the Louisiana Air National Guard from the Air Force.
All right.
After 30 years and 9 months of service.
Beautiful.
I did 29 years worth of law enforcement experience with Gretna PD and with Jefferson Parish Sheriff's Office. I retired as a captain. And I've always, even in my early college years, being able to, being involved with advocacy started really early. I come from a family where my dad was a community activist. I was very fortunate to have really good, what I call really good DNA.
Well, let's jump into that since you mentioned your dad, because you mentioned that you had gone canvassing the neighborhood this past weekend. And for those who don't see the signage and everything, this is James Pastor James C Simmons Jr. But let's talk about James C Simmons Sr. And what he meant to the community that he was a part of.
Yeah, I'm very fortunate, even as an only son. My father was a part of 14 different civic and community organizations. I grew up in a house where the phone always rang. I grew up in a house where there was always people there. Even upon his passing 7 years ago, he was the president of the West Bank branch of the NAACP. People would call my father for everything from a barking dog to needing a red light He was at every council meeting. He was someone that the community would go to if they had a care and concern. And I grew up around that. So I grew up always having thinking about others first. That's just the way he raised us. Yes.
Okay, and he never ran for political office?
He never ran for political office. One of the things that my dad used to always say is that's why I sent you to school. That he wanted me always to be able to do this. Strangely enough, maybe a year, maybe 2 years before his passing, he always said that he wanted me to run for public office. And of course, I was active duty Air Force and I couldn't, get involved in politics at the time. And I told him, I said, Dad, one day I'm going to. He used to always say, he said that their people need help, son. And I told him, I said, Dad, that's why I'm a police officer. That's why, I'm in the military. He said, but we need you to just understand more what you've seen, ground level of what needs to be done. So I'm very fortunate to, from being from Avondale. They named the community center after him about 6 years ago. The Avondale Community Center is now the James C Simmons Sr. Community Center.
That's a large honor.
Yeah, a large weight to carry as well. But yes. I think I'm up for the challenge. Yeah.
So, and I mentioned earlier while we were talking that this is kind of something that Mark Muriel went through when he ran for the mayor of New Orleans. That, his father, Dutch Muriel, was the first African-American mayor of the city. Yes. And then Mark comes along years later and says he's running for mayor. Many people just jumped in and said he's trying to live in his dad's shadow. He's trying to run on his dad's name. Yeah. There may be people who think that because your dad was so well respected in his neighborhood, that maybe you're trying to run on your dad's name. So what do you say to people who would say something like that?
I wouldn't say I'm trying to run on his name, but I'm just trying to continue his legacy. I believe, of course, again, being an only son, that everything that he taught me was to position me for exactly where I'm at today. This is not by accident. This is not by happenstance. This is a conversation that my dad and I had plenty of times. The fact that I was going to run for office at some point, of course, in my life and in my career, to be able to do that. And it was just something that he instilled into me, something that we always talked about, something that we always prepared for. And at the time, I was just, of course, staying in school, getting my education, of course, allow myself to academically go to the next level. I remember when I was in my undergraduate studies, we lived in a dorm that didn't have any air conditioning, and I remember coming home and telling my dad that, strangely enough, all the black kids live in the dorms with no AC. My dad said, do something about it. And 4 or 5 of my friends and I, we went marching up to the bursar's office and to the school president and told him that, we need to do something about the not having air in our dorms, and he threatened to kick us out. Wow. And but we marched, and I would like to say I didn't get a chance to live in an air-conditioned dorm that ULL or USL at the time, but they're living in air-conditioned dorms today.
And that may have had a lot to do with what you and your friends did.
Yeah, I would like to think that it did. I would hope and pray that it did. Yeah.
And so I'm guessing that sparked something in you to be able to advocate for people who can't advocate for themselves?
Exactly. It just noticed that, like my dad always said, just simple words. People need help, son. And he always said that. We lived, where, people will always come to the house. My dad was the kind of guy that anytime somebody needed assistance, anytime somebody needed a tree cut down, anytime somebody needed help building something, anybody needed a red light or something, any type of issues, cares, and concerns that he got himself involved in. And he dragged me right along with it. So I was there.
You couldn't help but carry on what your dad started.
Being an only son, he was a volunteer fireman. He did all that, and every time the alarm went off, I jumped in the truck with him. My mom had one. She had one thing she used to always say is that so long you got up and went to school the next day, even if you smell like smoke, you will go to school. You can follow him everywhere you want to follow him, but you will go to school the next morning. So yes.
Absolutely. Yeah. So you are full New Orleans born, Jefferson Parish, born and raised.
Yes.
So you know the community
I
that
do.
you want to represent.
I do. And I like to think that I know him very well, Dr. Rhonda, because when I first came over from Gretna Police to Jefferson Parish, the late Harry Lee was able to get a program started called STAR. The STAR program was allowing police officers to go right into the neighborhoods. And I was actually one of the first 3 that was brought on board to that particular program. And we literally knocked on every door in Marrero, in Avondale, and Wagman, knocked on every door. So my canvassing now is just like I did many years ago.
So it's bringing back memories.
It's bringing back a lot of memories. Bringing back a lot of memories. Yes, it is.
So you touched on it a little earlier, but why did you decide to run? What was it that made you say, you know what, I'm going to do something about it? I'm not just going to advocate. I'm going to get out there and do this.
Well, one of the things, there's several. One of the most important things is that my mom, she's 81 years old. She still lives in Avondale. And one of the things that she still drives, but she lives in Avondale, and she has to drive from Avondale all the way to Marrero just to get a loaf of bread. In between Avondale and Westwego, there's literally no economic development that the people there have actually had an opportunity to take advantage of. I met a young man that once told me that that he literally had to go either way to Booty or to Westwego just to get a quarter off for his truck.
So there is no commerce basically in that area.
No economic development. It's being too centralized. District 83 is actually one of the largest districts as far as land mass in Jefferson Parish. So it has a lot of room for growth. However, none of that growth is being seen within the district towards the community.
Well, we already have a question from a viewer.
Okay.
I'm going to read this to you. It looks like there are a couple of them here.
Okay.
Here's the question. What are the proposed industries to occupy the closed Avondale shipyard property? And the next question is tax anticipation for the property and jobs for locals for that location.
I'm glad that you said that. One of the things that in my research as a public policy administrator is understanding the industry. We've actually been here with as far as the commerce, as far as being so close to the river and being taken advantage of. We've lost jobs to Pascagoula, Mississippi. We've lost jobs to Galveston. We've lost jobs to Houston. And we just actually have to bring those jobs back. And actually, even if it means that we have to offer tax incentives, one of the things that you and I spoke about is offering those tax incentives for them to come back, but actually holding them accountable to those jobs. And one of the things that most people sometimes are oftentimes afraid is to hold businesses accountable to when they want to come here. Is asking them, what are you going to do for the community? How are you going to have those partnerships? You
said something that's kind of scary. You said that they're actually afraid to hold some of these businesses accountable?
Yes, they're actually afraid to hold them accountable because the way Louisiana has been set up for so many years is that when a business comes here, it's as if they're doing the state a favor.
Right.
And not understanding that we do have some wealth here. Even everything from our resources here, from the energy resources, everything from being so close to the river, this is a viable place for industry to come. But we've allowed businesses to control us as opposed to us control what businesses come here. So we should be in a position here in Louisiana to pick and choose as businesses come here. And every business that come here shouldn't always be based off of what they can do for an individual as opposed to what they can do for the community as a large.
Absolutely. And community as a large, and we talked about this before, you said that some people in the past may have only been representing one group of people.
Yes.
And you're basically running for the whole.
Yes. One of the things, I think we talked about it early, is just Vision 83. Vision 83 is going to be my vision for the entire district. I think it's wonderful what we've seen, the growth we've seen in Westwego. We've seen a lot of things change and a lot of commerce come on board from within Louisiana to Westwego. However, what about the Marreros? What about the Bridge City? What about the west side of Marrero in Avondale? So it has to be to where we're spreading it across the entire district, not from a centralized part of the district to where only it benefits a few.
Okay. Now, we do have another question. The first question was asked by Rufus Davidson Sr. He asked another question, but we're going to take a quick break. And when we get back, we're going to read his question on the air so you can respond to that one as well. Okay. So you guys stay right there. This conversation is getting good. Tag a friend who lives in District 83. They need to hear this. And you can also call in. We will put the call-in number in the comment section. So you can call in and ask your questions if you'd like, or you can continue to comment. But either way, let's make sure that we ask these questions. We have Mr. James C Simmons Jr., who's running for State Representative District 83. We'll be right back, and he'll be right here when you get back.
Thank you.
Hey, what's up, y'all? It's your girl, Dr. Rhonda M Lawson, and I'm coming back at you with the new year of Horizons with Meet the World Image Solutions. And this year, we're moving to Monday night with brand new exciting guests and engaging literary conversation. And we want our listening audience to be there with us because this is going to be a year you will not forget. Catch us every Monday night, 7 p.m., right here on the New Orleans Talk Network. And you can also reach us on the Meet the World Image Solutions Facebook page, the Meet the World Image Solutions YouTube page, and we're on Podbean, iTunes, and Google Play. So catch us every Monday night, 7 p.m. Central Standard Time. The year 2019 is going to be an exciting time in the city of New Orleans, and we want you to be a part of it. If you have a book, an event, or a business that you would like to promote right here on Horizons with Meet the World Image Solutions, contact us at www.mtwimagesolutions.com or info@mtwimagesolutions.com. See you there.
Well, what's up, everybody? This boy, Coach Hurricane here. You can follow me on Facebook at Henry Singleton or on Twitter at HenryHayoU15.
Listen, this is your boy, Fred. Listen, you can follow me on Facebook at Brandon Fred Jones, or you can follow me on Twitter at BFredJones.
This is Jeremiah Gray, man, with G Sports. You can follow me on Facebook, Jeremiah Gray, AKG, and on Twitter, G_paid-in-full 08.
Pay me the money! money!
And we're back. This is your girl, Dr. Rhonda M Lawson. I'm sitting here with State Representative District 83 candidate James C Simmons Jr. And just before we went to break, there was a question that came up asking about the plans for the Avondale shipyard and whether we had lost jobs to Pascagoula.
Okay. From my research, and you and I talked about this a couple of days ago, is that every other Wednesday I try to go to Baton Rouge just so I can sit in committees to find out exactly what is actually transpiring right now for our district. And one of the things that did come up, and it was just based off of just in committee meeting, is part of the sale of Avondale shipyards. From what I understand, and hopefully that is still in play, that back in October of 2018 of last year, it was purchased by Avondale Marines to where that they're going to try to make it like some type of industry hub. It looks like it's going to be some kind of way that it's going to be leased space, not really purchased by individual shipyards, but it's going to be leased out to different shipyards. So they do have a plan for it. It was initiated back in October of last year by Governor John Bell Edwards, that it has been sold. So I think right now that they're actually still putting some plans together for what they really want to do, but I do know it's going to be an industry hub. And one of the things I want to be able to do as state representative for District 83 is that I want to be in the room. I want to be in the room to hear the questions, the cares, and the concerns, or what they're developing, what they're deciding to do, so I can bring that information back to the people. So I don't want them to make any decisions without me having an opportunity to bring it back to the people.
And that's the importance of being able to represent all of your constituents and not just a choice few.
That's right.
I think we mentioned this before too, and this was actually mentioned by, of all people, I'm actually going to quote this lady on my show, Omarosa Manigault.
Oh, no. Okay.
And she said, if you are not at the table, you are on the menu.
You're on the menu.
So you are trying to be
That's
on
right.
the table.
Yeah, my job, my goal is to sit at the table. One of the things that I tell people, and I say this, just thinking about it, is that I don't have any agendas. My job is literally to go and represent the people of District 83. This is where I was born. This is where I was raised. This is where I've fought as far as a law enforcement officer. This is where I've been involved in all the hurricanes and all the emergencies for this area. So I just want to be able to take what I've learned, what I've seen, and what I've been a part of to Baton Rouge.
Okay.
Another question. That's good though, right?
Rufus is really feeling passionate about this. He wants to know if there will be any stipulations for locals in District 83 for jobs.
Absolutely. Rufus, Mr. Rufus, thank you so much for asking that question, because I'm going to tell you why that was so important. Because one of the things that I had a conversation with some potential constituents just this past weekend is that we have to hold businesses accountable to where that when they become a part of the community is determining, even if you just want to see not the names, not the addresses, but the zip codes of the individuals that work in those businesses, to see if they come from within that community.
And we talked about that a little earlier.
We did. We talked about that. We know there's a couple of new places being opened here on the West Bank, and one of the questions that I have, and one of the questions that I will be posing to them directly, is how many of those jobs are going to be held and open for the people that this particular business is going to be within that community. So you can count on it, Mr. Rufus, that I am going to be asking those questions directly to find out that, making sure that the people in District 83 are going to be represented, not only, of course, in Baton Rouge, but represented in the community within their business interests as well.
Okay, and along that same vein, Rashid said that you mentioned that there's not much economic development in District 83. What are some things that can be done to improve the economic development in District 83?
Well, one of the things that I believe, the number one thing that I think that we've already moving forward on is allowing everybody to see that it is viable to move here. And one of the things that we have to make sure that we continue to do, and I'm a supporter of Governor John Bel Edwards, is ensuring that we keep our flood insurance low. Those are things that are important, and also that we make sure that we work hard at keeping the drainage, that we can allow people to be able to move here, to allow them to be able to see that when they do bring businesses here, that it won't get lost through the flooding. It won't get lost because of a hurricane. So we do have to let people know that this is viable for them to be able to come here, and not just through tax incentive. Allow them to come here because this is a place where they want to be able to start a business. District 83 is prime for economic development. One of the things, of course, that I want this to be an economic development district. I want to be able to take a piece of what we call in the public policy arena as an opportunity zone, to where we can actually place parcels within the district, so people can come and say, okay, I want to be able to take hold and grab hold of this particular part of the district, so I can bring my business here. So that's what you have to do first. You have to open the door and allow the infrastructure to see fit for the business that you want to be able to come into the district.
Okay. Now, with saying all of that, does the community hold a piece of that responsibility as well?
I do. I think it does. So far, out of the 17 civic associations that's within District 83, I've been to 4. I have another one to go to this particular Wednesday. And what my job is just not to go there and say I'm running for office, but to be a listener, to hear what their responses are. This state was built off of voices of the community. They ought to have a right to be able to know what's actually transpiring. We need to be as transparent as possible. Allow them to have a voice of the direction that they see that's happening in this district. Not saying that we've not had that, but I just believe that we have not been as transparent as we should have been over the last 12 years.
And I don't know, I think maybe that transparency goes back a lot further because one thing, since I've moved back home, I've been back home for almost 3 years.
Yes.
And one thing I've seen is that there's a lack of trust with the people who are supposed to be representing certain communities.
Yes.
So some people have even said, I'm not going to vote. Let's, if you can address that, and then we do have a caller on the line. So if you can ask the caller to hold on, we're going to let him answer this question first, and then we'll go to the caller.
Well, of course, voting is key. You know, without voting, you have no voice. You know, and you want to be able to make sure that you're voting for your interests.
Yes.
You know, and it's okay to vote for someone to put forward a candidate that actually has your interest. Of course, one candidate, one state representative is not going to be able to make everybody happy. But at the same time, though, you ought to make sure that you're putting forth someone and you're voting for someone within your interest. If you're voting for someone that's business-minded, perfect. You want to vote for somebody that's business-minded. I think I'm someone that's business-minded, but I'm also community-minded. I'm also public policy-minded. Of course, I've created policy on a federal level, and I want to be able to do that at the state level. But at the same time, though, you have to vote for your interests. You know, again, not having a vote or not voting, you have no voice. You actually have no voice. You actually have no input on the political process by not voting.
Absolutely. Okay, we're going to go ahead and let the caller, we're going to talk a little bit more about that, but I want to let this caller ask their question. Caller, are you in the line still?
Hello, how you doing, Rhonda?
Yes.
Looking beautiful as usual.
Thank you.
I'm glad you have Mr. Simmons on your show today. He's actually looking to represent the community.
Wait, caller, you're breaking up. We can't hear your question.
Okay, let me start over. I've been listening to Mr. Simmons speak about the Avondale area in Jefferson Parish, the area portion of the area he'll be representing. And if we look at the whole entire landscape of the state, getting down to Jefferson Parish is one of the most powerful parishes in the state. We have a huge sheriff's office. We have a huge budget. I want to talk about some of the economic development you were speaking on earlier, because the area is, slow in that area. I heard you speak on a gentleman saying he had to go either to Bootsy or Railroad, they're in the auto zone in that area, anything like that. Winn-Dixie, I believe, just shut down not too long ago, but we do see hotels coming up. We do see, a little bit of we do see signs on side the road that says, available for lease or purchase and stuff like that. So I would like for the candidate Simmons to really talk more about, what's his plan on working with other state representatives to bring business to the Avondale, West Wego area, where there's tons of land to be developed and bring economics into the area, specifically in front of Avondale. I want you to talk about the big development that they had going on in front of Avondale, but it seemed like it came to a halt. There's a big old lot there sitting right next to a dollar store. So I would like for you to talk about, if you were elected, if you had any plans for that area, what would you do for that area right then? I hang up and listen.
Oh, thank you so much. That's a great question. Okay, we got music. One of the things about that particular area.
Wait. If we can get our producer, there, he did it! Yay!
Yeah, we had some music. It was good music, though. It was good music. One of the things, and I'm glad you saw that, because those are one of some areas that actually I've been sitting down with a team of individuals, and we're looking at areas for economic development. And one of the areas about that, I think he's speaking about the same area, is one of the things that they stopped was the expansion of the cyanide plant. And I think that that's a space that they were going to try to do some things there with. And we're glad that that was able to put a hold on that, because just talking to the community, I'm from Avondale. My mom still lives in Avondale, my sister, and I have cousins that live in Avondale as well. is that was signed off without the voice of the community. So they were able to put a hold on it because I always say this: all money is not good money.
Absolutely.
Just by virtue of the fact that they were going to bring a cyanide plant into the Avondale area doesn't necessarily mean that it was going to be good for the community. One of the things that we always have to make sure is that here on the West Bank is that our infrastructure continues to grow.
Yes.
Louisiana, particularly on the west side of Jefferson Parish, our economic growth has been growing at less than 0.1%. As long as you have no growth, no one's going to want to come and invest here. So we have to actually continue working on our infrastructure. I believe that developing relationships not only with those officials that are working in Jefferson Parish, but those officials that are working in our outlying parishes. I would love to be able to sit down with those in St. Charles Parish to find out what the plan is for the new airport. How is the new airport going to affect District 83?
Right.
Since it went west, that means that, of course, if you're going to come to the West Bank, you're going to be coming through 310.
That question actually, that's a great point that that things that happen in other districts can have an effect.
That's right.
On your district.
That's right.
And that question came up last week with Jamil Shahir. A caller called in and said, how many representatives are there in the state of Louisiana, and how many do you think you'll have to work with?
Well, for me, like I said, based off again, District 83 is being the largest district as far as land mass is concerned. You have District 87 to the east. You have District 84 to the east and to the south. Of course, and then from there, we bump up against the river. And then from there, you have District 91. You have District 89. From that all the way to the further west, you have St. Charles Parish. Of course, St. Charles Parish is a partner. We have to partner with them. Because of the industry being so close right there to the river, and then with the new airport. And we have to look and see what the new airport is going to bring to us.
Right.
We didn't want to just bring a new airport simply because for tourism dollars. We want to bring a new airport in so people can come here to invest into our city and invest to our district and invest into our parish again as well. So we want to create our growth. Our economic growth has been very slow over the past 10 to 12 years. We want to increase that number, but at the same time, we want to concentrate and focus on our infrastructure. And again, all money is not good money, so we have to be focused on what businesses that do want to come here and be selective.
And that's going to actually have an interest in the community.
That's right.
No need in putting a Mercedes-Benz dealership in a neighborhood that maybe can't afford to buy those.
That's true. Yeah, and that's the same thing again. In what money are we funneling into our schools? What money are we funneling into early childhood education? All of those things pre-factors. No one's going to want to bring a business here if your school system is failing, because they know that if they do bring employees here, that those employees are not going to want to have to pay for an education. They want to send their kids to public schools.
Absolutely, absolutely. I think we have a new caller. Caller, are you on the line?
Am I on the line?
Yeah, you're on the line.
Thank you so much, Ms. Lawson. It's so great to see you as always.
Thank you.
And my question is for Mr. Simmons. Mr. Simmons,
yes.
Again, this is Mr. Rufus Davidson, who made comments and asked questions earlier.
Absolutely.
And,
how are you, sir?
My question to you is, well, first of all, the first one is a comment. I saw in the pictures that was put up during the commercial break that you had an Air Force uniform on. Would that be correct?
Yes, sir. I am retired Air Force, retired Air National Guard, 30 years, 9 months. Yes, sir.
Oh, well, great. So I would be partial to you because I'm an Air Force veteran as well.
Really? Okay.
And
hello. Good.
And so, so my question, and this is going to be the final question, Ms. Lawson, I promise you.
No. You're fine. You're fine.
So my question is that you spoke of some things, and I was very satisfied with the answer after Ms. Lawson asked you again. So I'm satisfied with that answer with regards to what happens at Avondale.
Yes.
And so one thing that you did not address, and I'd like to hear that, and I'm pretty sure other viewers or listeners would like to hear, and that is that it's apparent that you've got some great qualifications. But I would also think that there's other candidates that got qualifications as well. So if you don't mind telling me and the rest of the viewers, what is it specifically about you that separates you from the other candidates?
Wow, that's a great question. So I get about 3 minutes to kind of brag on myself. I
Yes,
imagine.
yes,
So
go right ahead.
That's a good question, Mr. Rufus. One of the things that I think that separates myself from most candidates, I will own up. I'm not an attorney, but I am working on a doctorate in public policy, public administration. I do have an undergraduate degree in public policy, public administration as well. Upon my time separated from the Air Force, I was the chief of recruiting and retention operations for the entire state of Louisiana. I ran all the recruiting ops and retention ops for the state of Louisiana, which means I had a huge budget. I had a budget of $5.1 million. So I was a public policy administrator. Part of me just operating that budget had nothing to do with payroll, had everything to do with how I facilitated federal dollars. Accountability within the state of Louisiana. So if there's anything that I believe that separates myself from any candidate is that I'm a public policy administrator. I've done so many different variables of public policy on a federal level. I've actually helped written directives and policies, regulations. And most of that is actually on public policy at the federal level. I've actually taken, of course, Mr. Rufus, if you've been, of course, in the military, you know I've taken probably 15 to 20 different courses just on public policy and how to operate public policy. As a state representative, going to Baton Rouge is more than just creating laws. It's about making decisions that affect people. And again, I want to be a legislator. Of course, I want to be a legislator, but I also want to make sure that I'm creating legislation that affects the people of Louisiana, particularly District 83. Again, not just business, putting Louisiana in a position in a posture to where it looks like we're viable for people to come to us. So again, I think I want to be able to take what I've learned as far as public policy on a federal level and use it on a state level. I've actually had people ask the question about why not run for a local office. I'm a public policy administrator. I believe that what I understand and know and learned at Tulane University about public policy, and of course through my time in the military and also my time as working on my doctorate now in public policy, is to be able to use that in a way that I think that is more viable for myself and for the state of Louisiana, is that by going to Baton Rouge. I hope that answered Mr. Rufus's question.
Mr. Rufus, did that answer your question? I think he just hung up. So I think he's happy.
I hope that it did. Please call back, and if it didn't, I would be more than happy to. But again, I'm a public policy.
Well, I want to ask you something just a little bit more specific. So we see that you're well qualified to run as state representative. But what qualifies you to run as state representative for District 83 specifically?
For District 83 is I'm a lifelong resident of District 83. Again, I was born and raised in Avondale. My mom still lives there in our family home that's been there for 52 years. Of course, I live in Monroe, all within the encompassing the district. I think if there's anything that's prepared me for this, again, we spoke earlier of it about Operation Star. I have literally knocked on thousands of doors, and we actually had these forums, and we had to ask people these questions. What are the cares and concerns that are affecting you in this area? And we wanted to know more than just about crime. So I literally talked to thousands and thousands and thousands of people. And I believe that now is the time for me to take all of that, talking to those people, sharing with those people. I've literally sat at thousands of kitchen tables, Rhonda. And these people have shared so much with me about what affects their community. And these are things that are already permeated on the inside of me that I just want to be able to use within District 83 and to support my community. Not only the community, of course, the state of Louisiana as a whole.
Awesome. Well, we're going to take another quick break. This is going to be our last break of the hour. Okay. And when we get back, we're going to dive just a little bit more into that platform. These questions are popping, so y'all keep these questions coming. You can call in if you'd like. The number is 563-999-1808. You can ask your questions in the comments section, and we will ask the questions live on the air. Or, well, that's the best way to do it because I'm not going to be able to check my email. I'm on TV right now. All right, so we'll be back. We have about 15 minutes left in the show, so we want you to like, share, comment, and subscribe. Let's keep this show going. Keep those questions coming. We are sitting here with future doctor, pastor, James C Simmons Jr.
Yeah.
We'll be right back, and he'll be here to answer your questions.
Thank you so much.
Stay right there.
That was funny. I like that. I like that. That was funny. That was...
Dr. Rhonda M Lawson, and I'm coming back at you with the new year of Horizons with Meet the World Image Solutions. And this year, we're moving to Monday night with brand new exciting guests and engaging literary conversation. And we want our listening audience to be there with us because this is going to be a year you will not forget. Catch us every Monday night, 7 p.m., right here on the New Orleans Talk Network. And you can also reach us on the Meet the World Image Solutions Facebook page, the Meet the World Image Solutions YouTube page, and we're on Podbean, iTunes, and Google Play. So catch us every Monday night, 7 p.m. Central Standard Time. See.
Hey yo, what's up? It's your boy DJ Slick Daddy.
This DJ Slick 514.
And of course, I'm your girl, Black Coco.
Tune into the Live Line, New Orleans Talk Network, every Tuesday, 7 to 8:30 with all the trending topics.
And you can also check out my mix, DJ Slick Mix Quote 1 and 2.
And of course, check out Coco's Sex Tips of the Week.
And hashtag TTBF. That's that bullshit. It's the Live Line, New Orleans Talk Network, Tuesday, 7 to 8:30. We're always live. Let's go.
New year, new show. Hey, what's up? It's your girl, Dr. Rhonda M Lawson. And we're back. It's your girl, Dr. Rhonda M Lawson. I am sitting here talking with Elder. I'm calling you a different title every time I say your name.
Yeah.
But we are talking with Elder James C Simmons Jr., candidate, pastor, sergeant, captain, future doctor, state representative candidate for District 83, James C Simmons Jr.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. I'm so glad to be here. I really am. I'm so glad to be here. I am.
Oh, we're glad to have you here. And thank you so much for being very candid. I promise you, none of these questions were planned. I didn't know anybody was calling in. And you have answered these questions like a champ, and you've taken them head on.
Hopefully I have. I'm excited about it all. I am. I'm just excited about just being able to go to the next level, Rhonda. I am.
Wonderful. Now, Rufus Davidson did ask how you separate yourself from other candidates. Right now, there are no other candidates.
There's a lot of rumors. You know, one of the things that people always ask about why we got started so early. We got started so early because we wanted people to run against us, not us against them. And we wanted to make sure that they saw that we were serious. For one, we wanted to show them that we care. For two, and we wanted them to know that a qualified candidate was trying to get to Baton Rouge. So that was key. That was why we started so early. We started probably in June. We started mid-March. We hit the ground about mid-March.
And this the actual election isn't until October.
October 12th.
October 12th.
Yes, October 12th.
So
primary.
Who are we voting for when we go in? We know we're voting for District 83.
Yes, we are voting for district state representatives. We also voting for parish councilmen. And of course, voting for governor.
Wonderful. There's
and
a lot.
Villages that are out there as well.
So, as you can see, there's a lot going on. So, don't think that it's too early to get involved. This man started in March with his campaign because he knew what his goal was.
Yes.
So, if you're out there and there might be an opening in your parish or in your state or what have you, there's time for it. Also, notice what he said. We are voting for a new governor this year. So think about it. Who do you want representing you? Not just at the state representative level, but who do you want your governor to be? Do you even know what your governor has done? Do you know who your governor is?
Yeah.
And that's a viable question.
It is, because most people don't understand. And again, when you think about if there's any important things that I believe that Governor John Bel Edwards has done, of course, it is the Medicaid expansion. Most people don't realize that 425,000 people have insurance because of the Medicaid expansion that John Bel Edwards was able to sign off on. So you say, you know what, I have insurance through my employer, I have insurance because I'm retired. But think about how, if you have a family member that could be one of those 425,000 people that was positively affected by John Bel Edwards in the Medicaid expansion.
Right.
Yeah. So,
but unfortunately, I know there are people who are upset about the abortion bill as well.
Yeah. There's a lot that goes on with that. I have not had anybody particularly ask me my viewpoint about that, because it's kind of, to me, this is my opinion. That is, to me, I believe that that what goes on between an individual, not just a woman, but an individual and a doctor, should go between an individual and a doctor. One of the things that we learned, of course, through public policy, was HIPAA laws. Which means that what happens with their doctor happens with their doctor.
Exactly, it needs to stay with their doctor.
Exactly.
The doctor is like Las Vegas.
Exactly. What happens in Las Vegas? but HIPAA laws are very serious. HIPAA laws are very strong. And my understanding is, why doesn't that apply? What happens between me and my doctor should happen between me and my doctor.
That's a big part of why we should understand about what's going on and why we should take part in who's elected.
Yes, absolutely.
Now, the one thing I've had a person tell me that he did not vote because he didn't think his vote didn't count because there was an electoral college. And what I had to tell him is there is no electoral college where we're voting for our local leadership.
Our local leaderships. Because what happens is, Rhonda, if contrary of who's president, you still want to be able to positively affect what's happening in your own communities, within your own state. Of course, we know, again, John Bel Edwards is the only Democratic governor in the South. So we know that he actually came behind, picked up a mess pretty much. And I believe that he has turned this state around for the positive. And I believe that we're heading in the right direction. And one of the things I do want to be able to do is, as a Democrat, go to Baton Rouge and support this Democratic governor who's doing great things.
All right.
Yeah.
That's what I'm talking about. And what I like is you're not mincing words. You say what you have to say. You say what you say.
Yes, that's what I said. It's recorded, so that's what I said.
Right.
So.
Well, we have a few minutes left, and I know we talked a lot about who you are. We talked a bit about your father.
Yes.
We talked a bit about your prior military experience, your police officer experience.
Education.
Yes, your education. Growing up here in Louisiana.
Yes.
But what is that one takeaway that you want people to know about you?
My faith. I had someone mention to me today, just in conversation, about the negative aspects of being a politician. And I would say this to anybody: I am not a politician. I'm not going to be a politician. I've been a public servant since March 17th, 1986, when I joined the United States Air Force. And I've been a public servant since, and I'm going to be a public servant still. And what happens is, when you are a public servant, Rhonda, when serving others is in your heart, is in your character. It's in your character. Plus, at the same time, like you mentioned, again, me being a pastor and elder, I am the executive pastor at Beacon Light International Baptist Cathedral, where Bishop Dalbridge is my pastor, who I love and who I learned so much from. So that's where my foundation is. So my foundation is understanding who my character is that I'm a man of faith. First and foremost, I'm a man of faith. I believe that being in public office is still an honorable profession, but we've had some dishonorable people in it. I just believe that it's time to bring honor back to serving your community and serving your state. Right. I just believe that. That's why I want to do this.
So where can people find more information about you?
I want everyone, please go to my website, www.electjamescsimmonsjr.org. One of the things that we did do to our website that you probably won't find on most other websites is that at the bottom, we have an area that says cares and concerns, that you can put your name, your email, and you can put a brief, some brief information on what your cares and your concerns are. We're not running from hiding from anything that people believe that is wrong within the communities. We want to be able to know. So you're not going to probably find that on most of candidates' websites, that they want to know what the problem is. I want to know what the cares and concerns are within my community. We're going to knock on every door. I promise you we're going to knock on, our goal is to try to knock on 9,000 doors between now, yes, to try to knock on 9,000 doors. I'm out on the streets literally almost every day, of course every Saturday. We're looking for volunteers because those are a lot of doors to knock on, but not just to tell people about who I am as a candidate, but also to hear what their cares and concerns are.
Okay, now you mentioned your website. Can anybody find you, let's say, on Facebook, Instagram?
Yes, please. Follow us on social media. Again, my Facebook page is Elect James C Simmons Jr. It's my Facebook page. Of course, my Instagram is at JC Simmons Jr. Of course, I'm on Twitter.
Twitter, come on.
Yeah, I'm on Twitter. All of that goes. But reach out to me any kind of way. I'm not on Snapchat yet. I haven't, figured out how to.
I'm on Snapchat and I'm barely on Snapchat.
Navigate that part, but I'm here. We want to hear from people. Again, we're not running. We're not hiding. We want to hear because we want to be able to take District 83 to another level. We do. It's time.
All right, that's what I like to hear.
Out with the old and with the new.
Come on.
Yeah.
And so right now, speaking of out with the old, the incumbent is not running again.
No. Yes, he is actually termed out. He's done all that he can do for state representative. I'm sure that he's probably done some good things. He's a Democrat. He's actually made some positive choices and decisions for the district. But there's so much left. Looking at the data, there's so much we have to increase, of course, in our infrastructure, our schools. We have to raise the minimum wage. There's so many things that we have to do. Again, allow people to see that this is a good place to live, work, and, of course, play.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Well, we want to thank you once again for coming and talking with us.
Thank you for having me.
If you ever want to come back, you have a long time before October, so all you have to do is just come on back if you need to talk again.
More than welcome to come back. I'm sure that there's more questions that I'll be more than happy and glad to answer.
Okay, well, wonderful. Well, once again, this is Elder, future doctor, executive pastor, Captain, Sergeant James C Simmons Jr., candidate for state representative, District 83. And this has been a show. I want to thank everybody who called in, who asked questions, whether it was in the comment section or over the phone. Thank you for that. This is what it's all about. This is how you get involved in your political process. Don't just throw your hands up and give up and say, right. All right, I'm not going to vote. Or even worse, you go in there and just say eeny, meeny, miny, mo, because you don't know who either one of them is. And that's happened before, too.
Yes. Do your research.
Yeah. Now, speaking of research, now, we tell people to do their research. Where can they research the candidates?
Well, again, on my particular website, we actually tells everything about who I am. It tells everything about my foundation. And when I say my foundation, I don't mean an organization. I mean the ground at which I was taught, I was learned. As far as my parents are concerned, I'm one of those that was raised in a traditional two-family household. That I had an opportunity to learn so much from my mother and my father. Mm-hmm. I have 4 older sisters as well. Growing up, so I think I just learned so much from them, and I believe that my foundation is tells who I am. All of that is on our website. Again, I wanted people to know. Not just to vote for me, just for the sake of voting for me. I wanted people to know who exactly that they're trying to send the Baton Rouge.
All right.
Yes,
all right.
ma'am.
And there you have it, Mr. James C. Simmons Jr., candidate for Louisiana Representative, District 83. Once again, thank you for coming.
Thank you so much for having me.
Anytime. It was my pleasure. So that's what we have for this week. Next week, we're going to be jumping into some more authors. We have some musicians coming on the show. I know we got a lot of stuff going on.
I see that.
Yes,
yeah.
This is a fun show.
It'll be time for me to come back. I don't know.
Yes, you got to roll with me now. And don't forget, if you've been following Meet the World Image Solutions, you do know that we are sponsoring, we are hosting, we're not sponsoring, we're hosting a football trip. We're going to be doing a bus ride to Memphis and Nashville, and we're going to watch the Saints play the Titans. The game is on December 22nd. We will be leaving New Orleans on December 20th. Okay. And you'll be staying in a 4-star hotel. Wow. Nice hotel, the Sheraton Grand.
Wow.
Yes.
Wow.
So we'll be staying in a 4-star hotel. You will have snacks on the bus. We'll have a few activities planned for you. We're also going to have a networking social. We're going to be able to meet other business owners who live in the city of Nashville. So we're going to make this totally amazing for you. You're not just going to enjoy football. You're not just going to see the city, but you're going to be able to make some valuable contacts that can help you to further your business down the line. That's what Meet the World Image Solutions is all about. So if you want more information on that trip, then all you have to do is contact us. Just go right to the Meet the World Image Solutions Facebook page or to our Instagram page and contact us if you want more information. You can also call 504-505-5894 to call and get more information about the trip that way as well.
I do have one more thing to add.
What you got?
I forgot that I've been invited to the Lincolnshire neighborhood reunion this coming Saturday.
You forget that.
I almost forgot it. And they invited us to have a tent and a table. So if you want to come and speak to me and talk to me in person,
yes,
you can find us there beginning at 9 o'clock in the morning on this Saturday. It's going to be at the Lincolnshire Walking Trail right next to Canal off of Lapalco. And I will be there with a table and a tent to answer any questions anybody want to be able to have if you want to come and see me in person.
Awesome.
Yes, almost forgot about that.
Yeah, don't be forgetting that kind of stuff. You can give people a chance to get to know you.
No, they may think that this is, fake or something.
Okay. Also, we do have some promotion opportunities coming up. So if you are thinking about becoming a member of Meet the World Image Solutions or a client of Meet the World Image Solutions, now is the time to give us a call on quickly. When I say quickly, I mean quickly. Like you need to have already called me. That's how quickly it needs to be.
Right away. Trust me, I already called. We already got an appointment.
And lastly, yeah, he does have an appointment. And lastly, I want to thank with all my heart Black Authors Rock for inviting me out to Biloxi this past weekend and asking me to be the guest speaker. I was able to close out the event. My topic, if you haven't seen it already on Facebook, if you go to the Meet the World Image Solutions Facebook page, you'll be able to see the speech in its entirety. But my topic was not being afraid to fly. Never be afraid to fly. Wow. And I talked about a girl who was saying, this is my first time on an airplane. And she was scared at first, but then she started to look out the window and she started to enjoy herself. She got excited. Wow. And that's what we need to be. Sometimes going into the unknown can be scary. But if you face those fears and overcome those fears, you're going to find yourself excited and you're going to be able to see the world. And then I'll help you to meet the world.
Yes. That's good. I like that.
All right. All right. So that's all we have for tonight. Thanks once again for joining us. This was a great show. I really appreciate all of the phone calls, all of the comments. And this is something that you can do every week. When we're on the air, you can be on the air. All you have to do is just give us a call. So we will see you next week when we have 2 more authors on the show. Yes, we're going back to our roots. We're going to have some authors on the show. So stick with us Monday, 7 p.m. Central Standard Time, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And don't forget to like, share, comment, and subscribe. See you next week.